Week 8 college football. Kind of a wild weekend of up and down games again. This past weekend.
It was a rough week for me.
Crazy Washington-Oregon game. That could have gone either way. What else? USC goes down in South Bend. I mean, talk about anarchy. There was like 5, maybe 6 top 25 teams that lost this week.
Yeah, it was wild. I mean, you kind of hit the nail on the head here. Oregon, Washington, let's start out with it. The game of the week. The game of the year so far, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, that's just how good it was. Any criticism of Dan Lanning going for it on that 4th and 3 in slightly plus territory?
I mean, you can always college football's tough, right? You can always like take that risk. But I mean, for you to do it twice and not get anything, that really kills you. But I mean, it's a tough in the moment call because you kick both those field goals and you won the game, right?
Right. I mean, it's easy to say
after the fact.
I personally would have went for it there. You're going up against Michael Penix and that elite Washington offense on the other side of the ball. I'm going for it, right? Because if they get that first down, the game's over. Unfortunately, it just came down to execution, and they didn't get it done.
There was also that unfortunate...
I still defend going for it, though. I think he made the right call, 100%. I was a little bit surprised at how much criticism he was receiving. I was just wondering if you had any. I'm glad to hear that you didn't, but...
No, I can't. You can't criticize that because I know there's moments, other coaches doing it depending on the game you're in, but that you need every advantage you can get in that game, and those two teams going at it is literally like you can't. It kills you to settle for field goals. Yeah. Like it's a touchdown back and forth kind of game all day long, which it pretty much was.
And you saw right away because Oregon went for 2.
Yeah, right automatically. I was like, oh my gosh.
And it's just wow. That's the kind of game it was. So we pushed on that one. I mean, really, it was just awful for me. It was awful.
Unfortunate missed kick too at the end of the game, though. Too.
Yeah, right. I mean,
that was so close.
Everyone wants to talk about the 4th and 3 that they didn't convert, but they missed the field goal to tie it to send to overtime. So
maybe if he would have been put out there
too close,
maybe he was put out there earlier in the game to make 2 other ones. He would have made that one.
Who knows? But I do think you saw the 2 best teams in the Pac-12 in that game,
Absolutely.
And it wouldn't surprise me if they rematch down the line, possibly with a chance to go to the college football playoff. We will see. Other games that happened that we, made picks on. Kentucky minus 2.5. We were both on that. They were up 14-0 and then got outscored 38-7 for the remainder of the game. What? I mean, a part of me wanted to take Missouri when we were breaking it down, but I just kind of trusted, okay, it's at night, Big Blue Nation's looking good, a bounce back spot after losing to Georgia. Clearly, that was never going to happen because Missouri, after falling behind early, said, enough's enough, and we're going to make you look like fools. That's what happened.
They really did. I saw a wild take from a guy on Barstool the other day, and he said that, I don't know what his name is, but that Missouri's receiver 1 was the best receiver in the country. And people were clowning.
Luther Burden, the third.
People were clowning him for it.
I mean,
it's
look.
50-50 on that.
Is he the best receiver in the country? Personally, no.
Yeah.
But certainly top 5. He's a monster, man. Luther is sick. He's not better than Marvin. He's not better than Keon Coleman for me. But you put him right up there with like a Roma Dunza or...
You think Egbuka, yeah.
or someone like that. He's definitely in that mix, and he's still got a lot to prove. He's got a lot of years left in college football before he goes to the pros. So I love what I've seen from him and Brady Cook. Other games, USC, we talked about it. They got drubbed by Notre Dame.
It was crazy.
Offensive line could not hold it together. Notre Dame was in Caleb's face the entire game. He made some really, really awful throws, ill-advised. I just chalk it up as a bad game, really, for USC and Caleb, a bad matchup, and a Notre Dame team that was playing hungry for once and that looked like a real team.
That's
all due respect, though, their offense really didn't have to work. That was all Notre Dame's defense. So, I know
they still put up.
I know they put up a ton of points, but they had short fields. That defense was phenomenal. And I can't say enough about what they did to Caleb Williams because it was a perfect game plan. They were in his face all day long.
Shout out Marcus Freeman, man. He needed a big bounce back game, and that was the time.
They dialed it up. They dialed up a beautiful game plan, and USC was outmatched for 60 minutes. Miami, UNC, I mean, Miami was leading at the half and then just collapsed. It was like I was watching Kentucky and Miami basically being the same exact team, looking good to start and then falling apart. I just can't get a pick right when it comes to North Carolina. Please, we're done. They're good. I don't want to pick against them anymore. I'm just done with UNC.
Pick Minnesota against UNC. Pick Miami against UNC. I don't know if it's you and UNC or just UNC playing teams that start with an M.
I don't know, man. Oregon State, though, the Beavers.
I normally
dominated UCLA.
Normally I don't stay up late and watch those full games. I did. I was all in on that game.
Yeah,
Dante Moore still played pretty good. He made some bad choices in the end, but
that's a tough place to play.
It is.
And Oregon State's defense is phenomenal. And when you're an inexperienced first-year starter, the looks they're giving you, the deception, the disguises, it's a lot. And it's overwhelming, and it's not hard to understand why he made some mistakes. I mean,
sky's the limit for him,
supposed to be expected, but he's got the arm talent. Physically, he's gifted. Great size. He's going to be good. Just give it time. And then the game I gave you, or the pick I gave you, happened to be Michigan State money line. They're up 24-6 against Rutgers.
That was cool.
And then in 4 minutes, they were down 27-24.
They
4 minutes.
Lost the game.
4 minutes. I was certain they were going to win that game. Like, going into it, I was like, this is a Michigan State response game. Going into the Michigan game, get a win and look
presentable.
Presentable, right? Don't look like fools. I just don't look like idiots. Don't look like you threw up all over yourself.
Perfect example of what they exactly did.
And they did exactly that. So I lost Michigan State money line big time. That was unfortunate. So I was 1-4-1 on the week. Justin was 2-2-1. I'm now 14-19-2 overall. Justin is 17-14-2 overall. This kid just keeps
steady,
sailing
man.
By,
Slow and steady,
looking great. I take 2 steps forward, 3 steps backwards.
You really do, man. You came on that quick revenge tour after that 1-9 start or whatever,
1-9,
and then revved your way back.
Yeah, so we got some work to do this week, but we got 5 great games. It's rivalry week. I'm sporting the black, the shadow jerseys, but the green and white. Justin's got the maize and blue on for Michigan State, although we all know what that end result is going to be. But we're going to talk about it anyway. Justin, let's get into the games for week 8 here, college football.
Time to go, baby. An interesting game 1 because this was the big game last year.
Wow.
Crazy game. Tennessee last year, they hosted Alabama. Now they have to head to Tuscaloosa. No Bryce Young. No Hendon Hooker, no craziness. These are honestly, you'd think like overall they kind of have the same vibe right now this year. Alabama favored by 8.5 though at home, but they both have that kind of same vibe where we're like a strong team, but we're not top dogs. But I guess I'm going to kind of contradict myself because Alabama with their 1 loss to Texas,
they still only have 1 loss,
is still somehow in the picture, and they're the top of their division right now.
Don't count out Bama, dude. I think everyone is like, this is not the same Alabama team. They're not winning by 30, 40 points, but guess what?
Jalen Milroe is playing way better.
They're still winning games. It's not in typical Bama fashion, but they're still winning football games, and you cannot discredit them. And with all due respect, their 1 loss is to Texas, who's a very, very, very good team. So I cannot count out Bama just yet, and no one else should be.
It's sad. I wish we could. Nick Saban's always lurking.
I know. And we've watched these teams. The offense has largely been a little underwhelming, I would say. But this Alabama defense is legit.
I agree.
It is so good, so dynamic, so athletic. You're telling me Joe Milton going into Tuscaloosa has a chance in this one?
Mm-mm.
Justin, I'm sorry, man. I'm keeping this short and sweet for first game because I feel like we got more games to talk about that have a little bit more of an enticing storyline.
Fair enough.
I think this is just going to be Bama rolling all day long here. I don't think Joe Milton can handle this Bama defense on the road. And look, Bama's good, and this offense is good for about 20 to 24, 27 points. That Bama defense, they're not going to let you do anything. I'm taking Bama all day long, minus 8.5. I think this is a great spot to take the Tide, and I'm taking them confidently here. I have no real concerns about Bama covering the spread. I think they do it handsomely. I think they win by 10 plus here. I do. I think
10
Bama,
to 14 point win.
Yeah, I think it's a double-digit point win for Bama. I think they get it done, and quietly, they're in this college football playoff mix. They're not out of it yet. I know this isn't the strongest SEC, but that doesn't mean you discredit what Bama is doing right now, and they're winning. They're winning good, tough games.
I mean, you get to the SEC championship game, 1 loss, and beat an undefeated Georgia. What do you say then?
Right.
It would all ride on where Texas is at that point in time, too.
Right. I mean, I know that game to South Florida, USF. It was ugly, right? They won by 10 against a terrible team in a monsoon.
Had to be paused.
Nothing has looked pretty for Bama, but that's okay because you're winning games. And guess what? As long as you're winning games, we've seen it from the Notre Dames of the past. Mm-hmm. As long as you're winning games, you're going to be in that discussion, and that's what Bama's doing right now.
Absolutely. You know I love my Vols. Like I do love my Rebels, even though I didn't take them that one time and they hurt me bad. Is it another moment where I don't take my team and they hurt me bad? I'll tell you what. Unlike that game with Ole Miss, where I was a little concerned, but I still took LSU, I don't have anything in my gut telling me this week to pick the Vols. I agree. I think Bama at home is great in this situation. It's not the same matchup as last year. Again, week after week, I believe more and more in that Bama defense. It's legit. People are sleeping on it right now because after that loss, everyone's like, why we don't need to watch Bama anymore.
Everyone wrote them off.
Exactly. And don't let Nick Saban likes that. He's like, don't let us sit on this one loss and keep sneaking and letting the Tide roll to shore because a monsoon's
I've had my spots
coming.
Where I picked against Bama this year on this show, but guess what? They've proved me right, and they've also proved me wrong. And that's the thing, is while everyone, I think in the general media, is picking against Bama, like they're not going to do this, they're not going to do that, they're quietly building up a resume that's pretty impressive. And wins like this, they mean a lot going forward. So yeah, I love that we're both on Bama here. And only 55% of the bets on the spread per the Action Network are on Bama. So they're not like this crazy public darling. It's pretty 50-50 right now. So I like that spot too. We're not leaning into a public pick here.
I don't have enough faith. You never can have faith in a Tennessee defense, but also I don't have enough faith in Joe Milton. So roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
All right. Game 2. The boys of Duke are back, and they head to Tallahassee in a dangerous home environment for the Seminoles. Favored by 14.5 at home, the Seminoles. Do we know if Riley Leonard is playing?
So I did some digging. Mike Elko, head coach for the Duke Blue Devils, gave some optimism in regards to Riley Leonard playing. Now, obviously, if they want any shot in this game, he's got to be starting under center for the Devils. But regardless of whether he's playing or not, this Duke defense needs to put up an electric game, right? They have to have one of their best game plans of the season going up against this Florida State offense. This offense is elite. We've seen it all year long. Jordan Travis, Keon Coleman, that duo has been unstoppable. And quite frankly, it's the reason why they're in this position right now. That offense is carrying them to greater heights. Now, what I will say is Duke, while I'm telling you, they got to have a game of their life, they've been playing outstanding defensively.
They have. That's the key to their role. Aside from Riley Leonard, that's the key right now.
That's their identity right now, is on the defensive side of the ball. Honestly, if Riley Leonard plays, I'm taking Duke. If not, I'm taking Florida State because Florida State's defense, not that special. Riley Leonard can cook it a little bit. If you got some more in-depth stats for me, I'd love to hear.
I just want I just want you to see what we got right here. Read this line right here.
Pick Florida State minus 14 unless Riley Leonard plays. Yeah, I'm with you, man. I do. I think if Riley Leonard plays, and it seems like he will, that optimism from Mike Elko gives me a little bit more faith that he will play. This Florida State defense is not special. And Riley Leonard, one of the better quarterbacks in the ACC, he definitely can compete against that Florida State defense. And I think the Duke defense can cause some problems for Florida State. Ultimately, I know it's a tough road environment, and they're going to Tallahassee. I know you got the tomahawk chop,
and
I'm taking Duke 14.5 if Riley Leonard's playing. That's just the baseline.
It's straight up. I agree.
It's more of like a game time decision for me. Like right now, my pick is Duke, assuming Riley Leonard plays. But if not, we back out to Florida State.
Agreed. Fair statement. I'm the same wavelength as you. I mean, that's Duke's defense can play well enough, but if they don't have the right quarterback there, which he's such a game changer, it's not going to be enough.
He is. I mean, he is their offense. There's no shot if he's not playing.
I think Florida State wins either way, but if Riley Leonard plays,
you're telling me he can't keep within 2 touchdowns.
No,
I think it's going to be a competitive game.
If you got that half sitting right there.
Right, yeah, it's right there.
So that's straight up though, right there. I mean, we short and sweet right there. If Riley Leonard's playing, hit the Duke.
That's just where I'm at, and I love that's where you're at too.
Yeah,
and I mean, you really can take this up to close to game time. And or if this number starts moving a little bit, it might give you an indication as well. But if you really feel like Riley Leonard's playing, take it at 14.5. You get the 2 touchdowns and you get the hook. But if you're thinking, I don't know, maybe they're going to sit him out another week, maybe he's not right, or maybe you just love Florida State outright, regardless. Like I'm taking them. I think they're going to win by 3 scores. Right? Take the Seminoles.
It's true. And probably when you're listening to this, you'll probably know by then that if he's playing.
You'll have a better idea for sure.
Yeah, this morning on Saturday, but short and sweet again. Game 2. I mean,
really, it's
logic.
It's one of 2 things, right? If he plays, I like Duke. If he doesn't, I like Florida State.
Absolutely. And you can't always be right on the dot right away.
That's kind of how you had to cap this one because it's such an unknown right now. Like we have the optimism, we have the coach saying yes, he's probably going to play. Not saying that explicitly, but like that's just what you can wean from it. But if he doesn't play, then I just don't see Duke standing a chance, even with their defense. And their defense has to play great regardless. I know it's been great all year long, but they got to play GREAT great in capital letters.
All caps.
All caps.
All right. Quick game 2. On to a very interesting game 3. The Utes are back on the board. A rematch of last 2 years Pac-12 championships, right?
Yeah.
Crazy to see Utah now heading to the Coliseum. USC coming off that tough loss to Notre Dame, favored by 7. Still no Cam Rising.
I don't think he plays this year.
You think he takes that like medical red shirt or whatever and comes back the year after?
We're already at game 7 or 8.
Week 8.
I mean, I don't know how many games Utah's played this year so far. I don't have the record in front of me, but they've probably played 7 or 8 games at least. Maybe more, maybe 9. I'm not sure. But
he's probably going to sit out, play next year, raise that draft
stock. Games for him to play now. Like I think
for his draft stock benefit and all that.
I just think it's smart for him to take the time to recover, heal right, and then be back 100%, not risk re-injury, or if you're not able to do the things you're going to do, what's the point of coming back?
Agreed.
I gotta say though, I'm so happy Utah is finally playing a road game. It feels like they're always at home.
I can't. As a slight fan, I gotta agree with that because I feel like they are always.
They did go to Oregon State and they got mollywopped by the Beavers.
Maybe it's because we're always picking them when they're.
I know,
home.
I love seeing them on the opposite side. It's so annoying. Well, we're going to Utah again. It's auto loss. And I'm like, I'm going to take the other team. Well, no.
I mean, that's kind of how Alabama is this season. They're always at home. Remember last year they were literally on the road the whole season?
Every game. They played like 2 home games. But in this game specifically, the line opened up at USC -5. So it's jumped 2 points, now up to -7. 56% of the bets on the spread are on USC. So it's not like there's been this crazy amount of action towards USC as it appears on my on the stats that I have.
Mm-hmm.
But this number's moving, and it's moving quickly. I mean, from 5 to 7, that's a big jump. We know how good USC's offense is, right? I know they had the bad game against Notre Dame. We talked about in the recap. But don't you just expect this team to bounce back? I mean, they have one of the best passing and rushing attacks in the nation.
Bounce back. Lincoln Riley and Caleb Williams are saying, enough's enough. We're going to show people what we're about. We're coming back home. We want to beat Utah because they've been just doing us dirty for a long time. Hit them while they're down. No Cam Rising. The backup quarterback hasn't looked good. I mean, even with a bad USC defense, Utah's defense isn't as great as it was last year to just have that physical dominance.
Right. I mean, they're middle of the pack against the pass. They're elite against the run, but this is a USC team that wants to pass. I mean, when you have Caleb Williams, you're not just going to sit back and run the ball 40 times a game. You're going to be throwing down the field.
Mm-hmm.
And this is Utah secondary that's just not, it's not great. It's all right. It's not something that is going to scare you going into the game. So I don't know. I mean, the real question for me is this USC defense. Like, can they survive 60 minutes against a less than stellar Utah offense to keep within 7 points?
Because we saw them a week before, struggling against Arizona.
Right.
Now then they
just
beat
have
by
not
Notre
been playing
Dame.
their best football.
Mm-mm.
That's 2 straight games. We kind of talked about the Arizona game, handicapping the Notre Dame game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was probably a scare for them. Maybe it jolts them, right? Maybe it gets their minds right, like a wake-up call almost. And no, it wasn't. So is that loss going to be? That's where I feel like the answer has to be yes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go with my gut here, my heart. Utah, I can't take them, right? I just can't. It's got to be the Trojans for me. -7, I get them as a touchdown favorite. I think they're probably more than a touchdown better than Utah, without Cam Rising, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But that defense scares me. Like, I feel like that defense can easily let up some garbage time points here, and what was a 17-24 point lead, quickly I'm sweating it out at the end because this defense can't hold up, right? So
they win by 6.
yeah, something like that. Just something crazy at the end where they just kind of stack on a couple of touchdowns and, well, I'm screwed. But I'm going to stick with my gut. I believe in the bounce back. I know Utah's been a thorn in USC's side. I think they make a statement here. I'm going to take the Trojans at -7.
I agree. Utah scares me because they're so suspect in that they can do exactly what you said. They could just get some garbage time. USC's like, we're up, we're winning, we're chilling. And the defense is just like, whatever. I know we're going to win this one. Even though we're up 2 scores, right? With like a minute left.
Yep.
Garbage touchdown, and we're screwed. But it's hard for me not to believe that after that punch in the face, that Lincoln Riley and Caleb Williams aren't just going to take it laying down.
Right.
They're going to come back, and I bet you the defense has done a lot of grind work this week because they can't lose this game to Utah. They can't. I don't think they will, but if they lost to Utah without Cam Rising at the Coliseum after that Notre Dame game, I don't know what you say after that.
I know.
I don't know what you say after that.
Really nothing. It's over.
You can't. Season's over. Caleb, don't worry. Caleb will be back next year because he needs ownership and to be picked number 16 to the right spot.
We do not slander Caleb. He's a top 5 quarterback in the NFL already.
I will slander him whenever, only because he's not a Lion or a Patriot yet, potentially.
He needs to be a Patriot.
All right.
He needs to be a Patriot.
Caleb to the side. I'm fighting on with Evan on this one. All right.
Game of the week.
Yes. Columbus. The Nittany Lions of Penn State head to Columbus for a battle against the Bucks. Ohio
awesome.
State favored 5.5. A noon kickoff game. Talk about a big one to start the day.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's not a night game. Let's be honest. Because the game after we did that.
Fox was like, we want this game. So dumb.
I'll tell you what, all these Big Ten games are at noon. All the huge ones.
Because Fox has the priority.
It's crazy.
They have their big noon kickoff, which no one wants to watch the game at noon.
No, it's prime time.
It has to be 3:30 or 7:30.
You're losing money, man. And you're losing views because it's at noon.
Whatever.
Because everyone wants to watch. If they're not a fan of these schools, they want to watch their teams probably at noon, especially in the SEC, and then later in the day they'd watch the big ones. But anyway, big game in the Big Ten in the polls. I believe it's Penn State 6, Ohio State is 3. This could shake up the entire Big Ten, the entire playoffs. A big discussion this week was, does a loss in this game ruin all playoff hopes?
No. And I'll tell you why. A loss, whatever team loses this game, is not necessarily out of the Big Ten title hunt.
Mm-hmm.
We have to let things play out. Obviously, I think if Ohio State loses, it's not as damning because they beat Notre Dame on the road. That's an impressive win any way you slice it. And they have Michigan at the end of the year on the road again. So if they lose to Penn State here but beat Michigan with that Ohio State or with that Notre Dame win too, Ohio State's looking pretty good.
That's
even if they don't make the Big Ten title game. Like let's say Penn State just wins out here. Ohio State is looking really good to be that, third or fourth team in the college football playoff. Personally, though, this to me feels like a must-win for Penn State.
They're not good in prime time, big games, man.
I think it's a must-win for Penn State because this is their show-me moment. This is their coming-out party. We've been the third team in the Big Ten for a long time, and it's our time to take the stage and do something about it, right? I mean, they have the team. To me, they're the most talented team in the Big Ten. I think they have the best quarterback in the Big Ten.
That's a big one.
I think they have easily the best rushing attack in the Big Ten. I think they have the best defense in the Big Ten. I think they have the best offensive line in the Big Ten. The only thing that they don't have that's better than anyone else's is their receivers. That's it. I think everywhere else, Penn State is the best in the Big Ten. I do. Now, you're wearing the maize and blue. You obviously are going to think differently. But as someone who views each team, Penn State, Michigan, Ohio State, I view them all equally. I do. I think any given day, those teams are going to beat each other. If they played 100 times, it's probably 50-50 wins and losses. But for me, Penn State needs to win this game. They need to. I don't think Ohio State needs to win this game. Penn State needs to win this game.
I don't disagree on all those statements. Obviously, there is some bias. This is, like you said, it's a coming out party for Penn State. I also think it's a coming out party for their quarterback, who I feel like many people don't know, but they're going to come to know his name, win or loss after this game, I think.
Drew Aller.
Yes.
For those who don't know.
They do have a good old line. They got, I don't know how to say his name. It's always crazy.
Fashanu.
He used to block in high school for Caleb Williams, believe it or not, which is crazy to think about. And they always have a tight end ready to roll. I don't know what it is. They always have a tight end. That's the spot. It'll intrigue me whose defense shows up the most in this game.
Yeah, that's a great point because we have two elite defenses. These are two of the top defenses in the country. To me, I like Penn State's a little bit more, but I digress because both these defenses are outstanding. It's going to be tough, man, because you have two offenses that are different in their philosophy, right? Mm-hmm. Ryan Day, he wants to throw the ball at will. He wants to. He not always can, but that's what he wants to do. And James Franklin wants to lean on that 1-2 punch with Katron Allen and Nick Singleton. I mean, it's unreal. I know they're not as efficient as they were last year, but everyone's focusing in on them. And they haven't really used Drew Aller a ton. Mm-hmm. I mean, he has yet to have this monster game where he's throwing the ball a ton.
Because he's playing a strategic game.
Exactly. And this could be the game where that happens, where they open up the playbook for him a little bit, get more downfield passing.
They might need to.
And yeah, exactly. They might need to. Now, if you want a public perspective, 68% of the bets on the spread are on Penn State per Action Network. I think that's mainly because they think it's going to be probably a 3-point game, right? 27-24, something in that ballpark. I could see that totally. I'm really tempted to take Penn State money line. I am. I do think they're the best team in the country. Or not the best team in the country, but the best team in the Big Ten. Maybe the best team in the country. I think they're in that discussion for sure. But I need to see it first, I want them to prove me right so bad because they do have the most talented roster in the Big Ten. I do believe that. And they can get this done. It's just about James Franklin showing up in a big game. That's the only hurdle they have to clear. Can they get it done here? That's my holdup.
I'll tell you what, man. If he doesn't work out, they can hire Keegan-Michael Keys, perfect sub.
Yes.
Man knows ball. He's writing NFL scripts these days, so he knows what it's all about. Is Travion Henderson and Egbuka going to be back for this game?
I think Egbuka will be back.
I know one of them will.
I'm not sure about Travion Henderson.
That's still a discussion, but still a great backfield with or without Travion Henderson. Obviously, that veteran mentality
Mayan Williams
is huge.
They just haven't been able to run the ball.
No, they haven't. But they've been just slinging it to Marvin Harrison, who's putting up 100 yards every game. So that just works out for them. I'll tell you what, Mr. Ohio State quarterback.
Kyle McCord.
Don't even like to say his name. I'm more impressed so far this season with him than I was expecting. I still don't think he's all that. I still don't think he's an NFL talent.
No,
but
he's not.
He's doing what he needs to do to get the job done. He knows his strengths and he knows his weaknesses, and he knows his strength is throwing to Marvin Harrison Jr.
You know who he reminds me of a little bit?
Who?
Jake Rudock, the old Michigan QB.
Yes, just play tough and play smart.
Like, Jake Rudock did not get enough respect for what he did at Michigan, but he came in, he did his job, and he played well. And Michigan was a really competitive team that year. And I believe that was the team that lost to Ohio State in overtime? Was Jake Rudock quarterbacking that team?
It might have been. I think you're right.
Or was it Wilton Spate? I don't know. I was that was so long. I mean, now it was like,
gosh, freaking Wilton Spate,
like
man.
9 years ago.
Can't never wear those.
I'm trying to remember this all the time.
Can't wear those Maze jerseys ever again because of that guy.
Right. But he's got that Jake Rudock, or maybe like a sophomore year Brian Lewerke feel to him.
Okay.
Where
he's not like an Aiden O'Connell. Aiden O'Connell had a little bit more talent to him.
Like, these guys aren't world beaters. They're not NFL talents, but you know what they do? They process well. They get the ball where it needs to be, and they just get the job done. And that's kind of what Kyle McCord has done. And I could easily see him leading Ohio State to a game-winning drive in this one.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's probably a likely scenario. I think this is going to be a close one, and that's why I'm going to take Penn State plus 5.5. I'm going to lead into the public. I think Penn State can win this game. I have to stick with my gut here. In the preview of our college football season, I said Penn State's winning the Big Ten. I've been saying it since like June.
He did.
And this is a game that you have to win. They need this game bad. And if they win this game, all bets are off.
Everyone's breaking loose.
Penn State plus 5.5 is my pick.
If Penn State wins this game, you can never root for Ohio State again.
That's not fair.
That should be a statement.
That's not
because
fair.
It's embarrassing that you root for Ohio State.
Dude, Michigan State is terrible, so I'm rooting for other Big Ten teams to do well.
Get out, but I can respect Penn State, but not Ohio State, man.
You have the two best teams in the Big Ten playing this game. I'm rooting for one of these teams.
Well, yeah, they gotta compete. You gotta have the two young bucks. Prepare themselves for the top dog. Both got to play them in a couple weeks, man.
Who's the top dog?
Oh, I'm not even going to say nothing.
Who's the top dog?
Oh, come on.
Why are you the top dog? Are you the top dog?
Back-to-back Big Ten champs.
So?
Top dogs.
I don't care. That was last year.
Another year where we beat both of them.
That was last year. We're talking about this year.
Three-peat coming in. Three-peat for Big Ten championship.
You played no one.
Three-peat against them.
Michigan State, fact. Michigan State will be the best team you've played all season long. That's a fact. That's embarrassing. We suck. Factually, whatever statistic it is for strength of schedule, we'll be the hardest opponent you faced all year long. Michigan State at 2-4, 2-5, 2-4. Jeez. We're terrible. 2-5, actually. Yeah, sweet. We're 2-5. No, we're 2-4. I don't know. I don't care.
I'm just letting you run your race.
I'm gonna get hot. My blood pressure is rising.
Call me crazy, and I know you might lash back at me. I'm taking the Bucks in this one.
Get out of here. All right. Honestly, I don't hate the pick because I think Ohio State's really good, and they were the favorite to win the Big Ten, win in the football season.
Because you think Ohio State's going to win this game, but you believe and need to see. You need to believe so you can see that Penn State can do it.
I believe Penn State is the best team in the Big Ten. I need to see them be the best team in the Big Ten, and it starts in this game.
I don't doubt that they can be, but I don't think they are. That'd be my statement. I think they have everything they need, but I don't think they are.
Regardless of what happens in this game, Penn State is a lock to beat Michigan by 10+ in Happy Valley.
Wow.
A lock.
I'd say that if it was a night game. That all bets are off when it's not a night game.
It's a lock. This game being the shoe, definitely a bit of a concern. But look, I can't hate you for picking the Bucks. I'm just telling you right here, right now, Penn State, to me, and I don't think many people are on this train yet. They are so good. They just haven't shown it yet.
Why? Because they haven't played anybody like Michigan? So you're going to...
No, they played West Virginia, who's been solid. They played Iowa, 6-1. I'm just saying.
You know what's... side note, isn't it funny that Iowa's pulling in Alabama right now? One loss, but they're top of the other side of the board, man.
They're so bad.
It's so disgusting
but they win.
That the Big Ten West is so bad.
Iowa's defense, though, is so good.
It's crazy.
It's so good.
It's insane that all they need is an offense, and they could be so dominant.
Oh, they would be better than like some of these they'd be better than Penn State most years. They'd be better than Michigan most years. I don't think they'd ever be Ohio State. Ohio State's consistently good, but Iowa, if they had a legitimate offensive scheme that worked,
all they have is their tight end. That's it.
Insane.
They literally have their tight end that rolls in every year.
Yeah,
it's pretty much a breakdown. You have a tight end and a defense.
It's so true.
I don't know, but this is going to be a great game. I can't wait for it.
No, and honestly, I like your Ohio State pick. I do, because everyone's picking Penn State. I'm just doing it because that's what I've been on. I have to stay on it.
I respect it.
I got to be consistent here.
Respect the hustle.
If I was picking impartially, I'd probably play devil's advocate and go Ohio State. But I'm picking with my heart here. All right, this is a gut pick. This is a me pick. This is a I need this.
No, this is one of those Big Ten deciding games. Michigan, Penn State, and then Michigan, Ohio State. Those are the big pillars right there. And this is the beginning.
It's a 3-game season.
This is the beginning of the wire, man.
Yeah.
Beginning of the wire. All right. Last game. Sad game.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we're going to throw it out there, talk about it anyway. Michigan at Michigan State.
Sweet.
Michigan favored by 24.5. My goodness. Should I just punch the money line right now?
I mean, you could put 100,000 on Michigan money line. It's not losing.
Let's just discuss, kind of just a general discussion. I mean,
what's there to talk about? Michigan. I know I've been kind of ripping them a little bit here in the Penn State Ohio State game, but Michigan's still really good. They just haven't played anyone yet, so I don't really know what they are. Everyone is telling me what they are, but they have played no one. They've looked good in their games, but they haven't played anyone where I'm like, wow, I can actually respect them.
So composure in Michigan in the eventual games, composure is going to be huge, especially on the road in Happy Valley. And the big interesting thing is that some may not know about, some don't talk about. Michigan is I know because yes, they've had a lesser schedule, so it's easier to do this. But they've pretty much rotated their entire team to play in these games. Everybody's getting a shot.
Because
first
when you're
through
up by
fifth string.
40,
I know,
you just bench your starters.
But I know. But another thing is, while they're doing that, but they're also getting guys in even during the beginning of the game. They're rotating so many guys in, just in general. It's insane.
Nice. It must be nice. I mean,
you can call it cupcake, but also
cupcake.
But you also got to say a good team too. You could have the same situation. The team just got to be better.
No, we played Washington. We played a top 5 team in Washington.
Okay.
You did not. You have not played anyone.
Pull one game. Ohio State played Notre Dame. Pull one game.
That's a barometer test, though. That's a test that decides, okay, I know what I'm getting out of this team now. I know they look like Ohio State played Maryland, who's a respectable opponent too.
I feel Michigan still has to play Maryland.
Yeah, but they haven't played them yet, so I don't know what they are.
That's I hate that about Michigan's schedule because they got to play. They always say Maryland's a sleeper team.
I mean, it's backloaded, sure. Like it's a backloaded schedule, and for whatever reason Michigan wanted it that way. That's fine.
Which is crazy.
But look, dude, you play Washington like Michigan State has, all right? You play some of these other teams like they went to Iowa. They went to Iowa City. Like that, I know Iowa's like we make fun of them and their offense, but they're still a really tough opponent. Like Michigan has yet to play a real opponent where I'm like, okay, like they're not bad. Right, every team they played is bad,
and it's tough. It's a tough year because Michigan played Iowa last year.
Right, I mean that's just how the schedule works. But
after this year, though, we know it's going to be legit.
Yeah, you have a real schedule next year against real opponents. MSU not included, unless we get Urban Meyer.
That'll be wild, man. I couldn't imagine the anarchy that would come.
Raise
from
the flag. But no, Michigan. Look.
What do you want to see out of MSU in this game?
I want to see some pride. I want to see some pride. I want to see some heart. I want to see some respect. I want to see a little chippiness. I do. We don't need another tunnel incident, but I want to see. I want to see a couple personal fouls. I do. I want to see them pissed. I'm so tired of us being the doormat for everyone, the media, the Big Ten. I want them. I don't want them to be this business all choir boy. No, I want them to buy in and to play into that villain mentality that. Yeah, we are Michigan State. We're a bunch of, we're a bunch of dirty players, right? I just want to see them play. Like, I don't care what the final score is. I just want them to make Michigan feel them a little bit.
Yeah, some good hits.
Because I'm taking Michigan minus 24.5. All right, I am.
Fair enough.
But I want Michigan State to impose their will a little bit on Michigan to the point where they're like, wow, okay, we got that win, but you know what? We're a little hurt right now. We're a little beat up. We got some bruises. Like they played us tough. And I know we got the win, but man, that wasn't an easy one, right? That's what I want to feel. I want Michigan State to have a couple of hits, not dirty, but maybe just some hard hits, borderline questionable at best, right? Nothing where you're injuring them, like just tiptoeing that line of. It's not dirty, but you know what? That's a rivalry game hit right there.
Yeah,
that's what I want to see,
and it should be. That's why you can't go into this game lightly ever, because you never know.
I just don't want them to lay down and let Michigan destroy them. Right? If you lose by 30, let them know that okay, you got to 30, but it wasn't an easy 30.
You don't want a Washington part 2.
Yeah, where
you just kind of give up. Yeah,
they just gave up. I don't want them to give up, and they can still lose by 28, 27. I don't really care what the final score is. Just have some pride. Look the part.
Play a well-rounded game. If you make mistakes, it's going to happen. They may just put up more points. But when you have the ball, play right. You think Hauser's going to start?
Yeah. Hauser looked good against Rutgers.
He did.
And the special teams just completely imploded. They didn't lose that game because of Caden Hauser. And that was in a monsoon in New Jersey, Piscataway. I thought he looked really good. I don't see any chance for Michigan State covering the spread. I don't, but that's me being a cynical Spartan. I'm just telling you right here, right now, man. Throw a couple of hits that are, rivalry hits. Get a little chippy, play a little edgy, and just see what happens.
Play like a Spartan.
Spartans will. It should be an embarrassment, but
I can't believe this is a night game.
I've been wearing this jersey all day long.
Have you?
Yeah. Just show some respect, man. Please.
Put some respect on my name.
This season cannot end sooner.
Fair enough.
It's been awful. I know you're taking Michigan.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I don't have to say much. I mean, don't play it lightly. It's still a rivalry game. It's still away. It's still at night because Michigan gets scared at night. I don't know.
Part of you that's like a little nervous about this one?
No, not to lose. No, okay. But there's still my thing is the environment that it presents can cause JJ to be like, it's dark outside. There might be some bad balls thrown. I mean, I don't know what it is about Michigan at night. There's something about it, especially on the road at night. It scares me. It scared me when they went to Minnesota. I'll be honest. But then I saw that pick 6, and I'm like, all right, we're good.
I feel like if I asked like 10 Michigan fans, does this game scare you at all? Like 2 or 3 would say, I'm a little scared.
Yeah. I mean, it's
and I'm
still
like, why are you scared? We're horrible. Like, we have no chance.
I don't doubt that Michigan will win. I think it's just like, it's just I don't know how well the performance is going to be. I feel like there might be a lot of mistakes. You might still get a good win by 21 plus, but I feel like there might be some mistakes. So that's my concern. But you still got to play solid. Still play solid because you got to go to, obviously you host Purdue in 2 weeks because you get a bye. But then you still got to go to Happy Valley, right? After that at noon. You might have to go to Maryland at night. That game time hasn't been decided yet.
That could be interesting.
That would concern me. That's another thing. So
a little trap game and a look-ahead spot to Ohio State.
Exactly, especially if you are able to pull away against Penn State and Happy Valley,
Yeah.
You feel okay, right? You maybe pull skip, maybe a field goal and you survive in Happy Valley. And you have to go next week to play a night game at Maryland after that game. Are you out of it because you're so worried about hosting Ohio State the week after? I don't know.
These are all fair points, and we're going to get to it.
Yeah.
And we'll have more interesting games with Michigan to talk about coming up here.
Absolutely.
Which I'm excited to talk about, but this is not one of those games. But that's okay. We had to talk about it Rivalry Week. And,
go blue.
Go green, but it's just not going to happen. It's over.
It's okay.
It's Jover.
Well, let's run it back.
Let's run it down. All right. Game 1, the Vols head to Tuscaloosa. Me and Justin both on Alabama -8.5. Game 2, Duke heading to Tallahassee to take on the Seminoles of Florida State. If Riley Leonard plays, the caveat.
Yes.
If Riley Leonard, star quarterback for Duke, plays, we're on Duke plus 14.5. If he's out, we're taking the Seminoles -14.5. Game 3, USC hosting the Utah Utes.
Finally.
Me and Justin are both on the Trojans -7. Game 4, Penn State, Ohio State, game of the week. Could be the game of the year.
Could be.
I'm on the Nittany Lions +5.5. Justin's on the Buckeyes -5.5. Go Bucks for Justin here. Rare.
I can't say it unless it's Baker.
I'll be saying we are Penn State after this one. And then game 5, rivalry week. Michigan State. You know the deal, man. MSU's just nothing.
We'll see him next year. Hopefully it's a new coach. Hopefully it's Urban Meyer and a new regime.
We'll see Urban Meyer next year. But Michigan -24.5. Me and Justin are both on that as well. So those are your game picks. Week 8 in the books.
Absolutely.
Wrap it up, Justin. What a week it's going to be, man. Penn State, Ohio State, obviously the belle of the ball, as you'd say. But I'm really excited for Alabama and Tennessee too. I want to watch that game.
They're all going to be interesting games. I mean, it's crazy. Most of these games are night games. Again, Alabama, Tennessee, and Penn State, Ohio State are the noon games. I believe Duke, Florida State is at 7. Utah, USC, and Michigan State are both at 7:30. So I don't know.
You had some good games in the noon hour. Mm-hmm. Relax,
kick
have
off
a good
the day.
time.
Maybe take a little breather in the middle.
Yeah, a little breather, and then you build up to what's going to be a drubbing, a bludgeoning of the Spartan football program.
We will see.
Shout out Mel Tucker for that.
Lots pending with that one. We'll see if we might be watching that game together this weekend. We'll see what's going on in the digs.
I'm down. I actually have no idea what I'm doing this weekend.
I'm waiting to see because I saw your response earlier, so I was like, I know.
Yeah. My proclamation.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel bad for JP though. Go blue, but man, it's gonna be a rainy, cold weekend in East Lansing, and I know you're going for a win, but is it worth it? Is it worth it? I don't know.
I don't know, man. But raise the flag, Urban Meyer to East Lansing. Let's go.
Put the signs out. All right, another week. We'll see you next time. Peace.